Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, YouTube. Today we are again reading out of our Bible. I am using a translation called The Scriptures. Please feel free to read along in your own Bible. Don't take my word for it. Read it for yourself. So grab your coffee, grab your Bible, and let's read. Today we are starting in Deuteronomy chapter 10. At that time Yahweh said to me, "Hew for yourself 2 tablets of stone like the first, and come up to me on the mountain. And you shall make yourself an ark of wood. Then I write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke, and you shall put them in the ark." So I made an ark of acacia wood, hewed 2 tablets of stone like the first, and went up the mountain, with the 2 tablets in my hand. And he wrote on the tablets, according to the first writing, the 10 words which Yahweh had spoken to you in the mountain from the midst of the fire on the day of the assembly. Then Yahweh gave them to me, and I turned and came down from the mountain, and put the tablets in the ark which I had made. And they are there as Yahweh commanded me. Now the children of Israel set out from the wells of Beni Yaakan to Moserah. Aaron died there, and he was buried there, and Eleazar his son became priest in his place. From there they set out to Gudgoda, and from Gudgoda to Yadbatha, a land of rivers of water. At that time Yahweh separated the tribe of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant to Yahweh, to stand before Yahweh to serve him and to bless his name to this day. Therefore Levi has no portion nor inheritance with his brothers. Yahweh is his inheritance, as Yahweh your Elohim promised him. And I stayed in the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights, and Yahweh heard me at that time also. And Yahweh chose not to destroy you. And Yahweh said to me, "Arise, go before the people to set out, and let them go in to possess the land which I swore to their fathers to give them." And now, Israel, what is Yahweh, your Elohim, asking of you, but to fear Yahweh, your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yahweh, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your being, to guard the commands of Yahweh and his laws which I command you today for your good. See, the heavens and the heaven of heavens belong to Yahweh, your Elohim, also the earth with all that is in it. Yahweh delighted only in your fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, you above all peoples, as it is today. And you shall circumcise the foreskin of your heart, and harden your neck no more. For Yahweh your Elohim is Elohim of mighty ones and master of masters, the great El, mighty and awesome, who shows no particularity nor takes a bribe. He executes right ruling for the fatherless and the widow, and loves the sojourner, giving him food and a garment. And you shall love the sojourner, for you were sojourners in the land of Mitzrayim. Fear Yahweh your Elohim, serve him, and cling to him, and swear by his name. He is your praise, and he is your Elohim, who has done for you these great and awesome deeds, which your eyes have seen. Your fathers went down to Mitzrayim with 70 beings, and now Yahweh your Elohim has made you as numerous as the stars of the heavens. So, love God. He's the master of everything, and he's already fulfilled one part of his promise to Abraham, that his seed would be as many as the stars. Chapter 11. And you shall love Yahweh your Elohim and guard his charge, even his laws and his right rulings and his commands always. And you shall know today, for it is not your children who have not known and who have not seen the discipline of Yahweh your Elohim, his greatness, his strong hand, and his outstretched arm, and his signs and his works which he had done in the midst of Mitzrayim, to Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, and to all his land. And that which he had done to the army of Mitzrayim, to their horses and their chariots, when he made the waters of the sea of reeds overflow them as they pursued you, and how Yahweh had destroyed them to this day. And what he had done for you in the wilderness till you came to this place, and what he had done in Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, son of Reuben, where the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, and their households and their tents and all the living creatures that were in their possession, in the midst of all Israel. For yours are the eyes that saw all the great works of Yahweh which he did. And you shall guard every command which I command you today, so that you are strong, and shall go in, and shall possess the land which you are passing over to possess, and to prolong your days in the land which Yahweh swore to give to your fathers, to them and their descendants, a land flowing with milk and honey. For the land which you are going in to possess is not like the land of Mitzrayim, from which you have come, where you sowed your seed and watered it by foot as a vegetable garden. But the land which you are passing over to possess is a land of hills and valleys, which drinks water from the rain of the heavens, a land which Yahweh your Elohim looks after. The eyes of Yahweh your Elohim are always on it, from the beginning of the year to the latter end of the year. And it shall be that if you diligently obey my commands, which I command you today, to love Yahweh your Elohim and to serve him with all your heart and with all your being, then I shall give you the rain for your land in its season, the early rain in the latter rain, and you shall gather in your grain and your new wine and your oil. And I shall give grass in your fields for your livestock, and you shall eat and be satisfied. Guard yourselves, lest your heart be deceived, and you turn aside and serve other mighty ones and bow down to them. Then the displeasure of Yahweh shall burn against you, and he shall shut up the heavens, and there be no rain, and the land not give its increase. And you shall perish quickly from the good land which Yahweh is giving you. And you shall lay up in these words of mine in your heart and in your being, and shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall teach them to your children, speaking of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, so that your days and the days of your children are increased in the soil of which Yahweh swore to your fathers to give them, as the days of the heavens on the earth. For if you diligently guard all these commands which I command you, to do it, to love Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to cling to him, then Yahweh shall drive out all these nations before you, and you shall dispossess greater and stronger nations than you. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads is yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even to the western sea is your border. No man shall stand against you. Yahweh your Elohim shall put the dread of you and the fear of you upon all the land where you tread, as he has spoken to you. See, I am setting before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, when you obey the command of Yahweh your Elohim, which I command you today, and the curse if you do not obey the commands of Yahweh your Elohim, but turn aside from the way which I command you today, to go after other mighty ones which you have not known. And it shall be, when Yahweh your Elohim has brought you into the land which you go to possess, that you shall put the blessing on Mount Gerizim, and the curse on Mount Abel. Are they not beyond the Jordan toward the setting sun, in the land of the Canaanites who dwell in the desert plain opposite Gilgal, beside the terebinth trees of Moreh? For you are passing over the Jordan to go in to possess the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you, and you shall possess it and dwell in it, and shall guard to do all the laws and right rulings which I am setting before you today. So, follow the commands, you will be blessed. Follow other gods, and you will be cursed. Seems to repeat that a lot. Chapter 12. These are the laws and right rulings which you guard to do in the land which Yahweh Elohim of your fathers is giving you to possess, all the days that you live on the soil. Completely destroy all the places where the nations which you are dispossessing served their mighty ones, on the high mountains and on the hills and under every green tree. And you shall break down their slaughter places and smash their pillars and burn their asherim with fire. And you shall cut down the carved images of their mighty ones and shall destroy their name out of that place. Do not do so to Yahweh your Elohim, but seek the place which Yahweh your Elohim chooses out of all your tribes to put his name there, for his dwelling place, and there you shall enter. And there you shall take your ascending offerings, and your slaughterings, and your tithes, and the contributions of your hand, and your vowed offerings, and your voluntary offerings, and the firstlings of your herd and of your flock. And there you shall eat before Yahweh your Elohim, and shall rejoice in all that you put your hand to, you and your households, in which Yahweh your Elohim has blessed you. Do not do as we are doing here today, each one doing whatever is right in his own eyes, because you have not yet entered the rest and the inheritance which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you. But you shall pass over the Jordan, and shall dwell in the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to inherit. And he shall give you rest from all your enemies round about, and you shall dwell in safety. And it shall be that unto the place which Yahweh your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell there, there you are to bring all that I command you. Your ascending offerings, and your slaughterings, and your tithes, and the contribution of your hand, and all your choice offerings which you vow to Yahweh. And you shall rejoice before Yahweh your Elohim, you and your sons and your daughters, and your male servants and your female servants, and the Levite who is within your gates, since he has no portion nor inheritance with you. Guard yourself that you do not offer your ascending offerings in every place that you see, except in the place which Yahweh chooses, in one of your tribes. There you are to offer your ascending offerings, and there you are to do all that I command you. Only whatever your being desires you shall slaughter and eat, according to the blessing of Yahweh your Elohim, which he has given you, within all your gates. The unclean and the clean do eat of it, and the gazelle and the deer alike. Only the blood you do not eat, pour it on the earth like water. You are not allowed to eat within your gates the tithe of your grain, or of your new wine, or of your oil, or of the firstlings of your herd or your flock, or of any of your offerings which you vow, or of your voluntary offerings, or of the contribution of your hand. But eat them before Yahweh your Elohim in the place where Yahweh your Elohim chooses, you and your sons and your daughters, and your male servant and your female servant, and the Levite who is within your gates. And you shall rejoice before Yahweh your Elohim in all that you put your hands to. Guard yourself that you do not forsake the Levite as long as you live in your land. When Yahweh your Elohim enlarges your border, as he has promised you, and you say, let me eat meat, because you long to eat meat, you eat as much meat as your being desires. When the place where Yahweh your Elohim chooses to put his name is too far from you, then you shall slaughter from your herd and from your flock which Yahweh has given you, as I have commanded you, and you shall eat within your gates as much as your being desires. Only as the gazelle and the deer are eaten, so you are to eat of it. The unclean and the clean alike eat of it. Only be strong not to eat the blood, for the blood is the life. Do not eat the life with the meat. Do not eat it. You pour it on the earth like water. Do not eat it, that it might be well with you and your children after you when you do what is right in the eyes of Yahweh. Only the set-apart gifts which you have and your vowed offerings you are to take up and go to the place which Yahweh chooses. And you shall make your ascending offerings, the meat and the blood, on the slaughter place of Yahweh your Elohim. And the blood of your slaughterings is poured out over the slaughter place of Yahweh your Elohim, and you eat the meat. Guard and obey all these words which I command you, that it might be well with you and your children after you forever, when you do what is good and right in the eyes of Yahweh your Elohim. When Yahweh your Elohim does cut off from before you the nations which you go to dispossess, and you dispossess them and dwell in their land, guard yourself that you are not ensnared to follow them after they are destroyed from before you, and that you do not inquire about their mighty ones, saying, how did these nations serve their mighty ones, and let me do so too. Do not do so to Yahweh your Elohim, for every abomination which Yahweh hates they have done to their mighty ones, for they even burn their sons and daughters in the fire to their mighty ones. All the words I am commanding you, guard to do it. Do not add to it, nor take away from it. So, the Father will choose the place where the temple will be eventually. And that is where they are supposed to go for their offerings and stuff, unless they are too far away to get there. It does allow for that. But that is the end of the reading for today. Thank you for coming along with me. I hope you join us again next Saturday. May the Father bless you. Shalom.